What's up, Stu? How's it
Hello,
going?
Jim. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm glad you're good. Hey, got a question for you. I
Yes,
saw
sir.
a I saw a picture of you with a well-known individual from this past weekend from the Army Navy game.
Yeah.
What was
Fun.
it? What was it like meeting Jocko?
Oh, it's cool. It was cool. He's a big deal. Man, he's got a big old setup, at this tailgater. We went to the Travis Manion Foundation tailgater, which is really popular. Let me tell you, it's $80 a person to go into this tailgater and
What do you get?
it had food and drinks and as many as you want. It was all free, right? You didn't have to pay for anything.
Once you paid
And
the $80.
right, you prepaid for it.
Okay. It's like
But you,
Golden Corral. You pay to
you
get
know,
in, then the
yeah,
food's included.
you could take advantage of that if you wanted to. It had heaters. I mean, it was big music. It was awesome. Anyway, he had the big old Jocko fuel set up over there. Grabbed a couple Jocko fuels, and I just noticed he was there. I was like, oh, let me go say hi, and went over and introduced myself. He goes, oh, you exist. I've heard a lot about you. So he thought I was some kind of AI program. He was just joking. Um, but yeah, it was cool. We were talking about it, introduced him to my son, and it was good.
And
Shared it
was
on
he
shared it on my social media.
So when you meet somebody like that, I've met my heroes before. And I'm not saying he's your hero. I mean, hell, you were in before he was.
Yeah, I
Um,
did say, congrats because I love to see vets do well in business. And I think that was my theme when I went over there just to introduce myself and say congrats on that. So, yeah.
and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's interesting with somebody like that who, is he an authority? Is he a celebrity? Is he what is he? I mean,
Mm.
he's obviously a significant character.
Yeah.
But and I know he's written a couple of books. He's wrote that extreme ownership book. He's got a podcast. Um, and he's got a drink brand, which I think you should come out with your own line of Stu Smith's boiled peanuts and pickle juice. Hey, all organic,
That's hilarious.
organic pickle juice. Don't ask, we won't
Yeah.
tell.
And the tea.
And the and Stu Smith's tea. Um, but it's interesting. He's a significant person.
Yeah.
But what's he an expert about? I mean, he's an expert at leadership. I think that's what, if you were going to say, leadership, motivation, unscrewing yourself.
Yeah. I think he's just a
Um,
good teacher. He is helping people grow.
and I think a lot of that, though, is because he's been there, done that, got t shirt, scar
Yeah.
tissue, all that good stuff. Which brings me to today's topic. Um, it's never been easier to now put yourself out there as an expert
Hmm.
than it ever has been, if you think
Interesting.
about it.
Dang.
I mean, you think about why is that? Okay, well, for not very much money for free, you can get on a network TV of YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff, which has a bigger reach than any network television show ever had or
True.
has the potential to be out there. Any chucklehead with a webcam like us.
Hey,
can-
hey, yeah. It basically went like this. We need to do a podcast.
That's right.
Let's figure it out. And yeah,
Stu, go figure this out.
we got our own podcast now.
Imagine where we'll be with school here in about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But honestly though, it's never been easier to be perceived as an expert.
I like it.
And well, maybe.
Well, I like what you're about to do. I know what you're about to do, Jim.
Well,
I can
you
tell.
think you know. You think
Okay.
you know. You think you know. Uh,
It's just good. It's good
but
prep.
what's something now when someone just shows up out of thin air? what is something you see, or a trait or a tell, or something you hear somebody do, or something that raises a red flag where you're like, whoa, wait a second, is this person really, is this like a performance, or is there depth here, is there experience behind this?
What
You ever
is?
think about that?
Yeah, I
Yeah, what
guess.
tips you off? What tips you off, or makes you like when I see these videos where I'm like, oh, oh crap, it's like you're look, oh man, that's just an AI video. That's not really a,
Right.
a dog making friends with baby raccoons and they're drinking beer in a trash can together. I mean, that's not real.
Right.
Is there something, is your
Uh,
guard up more against paper experts or GPT commandos?
that's good. Good question. I think I'm pretty open minded when I scroll
Hmm.
and see things, but there is definitely a second phase of that process. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's funny. That's weird. Right. And then I'm like, oh, interesting. Let me read this. And then I'm like, this is all made up. Right. Or, this is all fake.
Yeah.
Or it's real and there's a button to go to a store to buy it. And I'm like, okay, I'm buying it. Right.
Okay.
I'm,
I
I'm
need
one way or the other.
I need a bunch of customers like you.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen anybody come on the scene real fast, like in the exercise space or any space that you're paying attention to? They come on real fast, and then all of a sudden they lose trust, or they just burn out really quick, or everybody exposes them as a fraud.
Oh, yeah. That happens every month in the
Okay.
fitness business.
Okay. And what does that scenario look like? What happens?
It's usually somebody being fake, saying they're doing all of this stuff and they're not, and then they sell a line of supplements and something else and merch, and they're you can tell that they're just into go viral and sell as much as they can in the shortest period of time as they can before they're blown.
So you mean like a guy who might be all roided out, who's saying he's 100% natural and doing a caveman diet, and then he has roid rage within 2 weeks and ends up in jail?
Yeah, could be that. Could be could be the roid rage and a heart attack, and there's just all kinds of stuff that
Yeah.
happens out there.
So I do think that one of the things that's coming up in the world now that we all need to be aware of, and I'm coining this phrase, okay, the GPT commandos.
Ooh.
Okay. These are the people who have a free chat GPT account and they are experts. All right.
Mm,
So
yeah.
now I'm just gonna talk about some stuff. We were to think about this like a pyramid, all right, not a pyramid scheme, but at the bottom of the pyramid we have information, okay, and then above information we have knowledge,
Yeah.
and then above knowledge we have know-how, and then above knowledge we have wisdom. All right. What's the difference between these, Stu? Just there's no right or wrong. We're just having a discussion. And what's your knee-jerk reaction about what is each one of these?
I would say um, the ability to communicate it
Mm-hmm.
and experience
Okay.
or education. Like somebody who's a doctor telling me about why my knee hurts, I might listen to that orthopedist.
What about a kid straight out of medical school who
uh,
hadn't even gone through residency yet?
but, a little bit of a red flag, but not horrible.
Okay.
He's got some knowledge, but not
Right.
a lot of experience.
Right. So if I would, this is really good. Okay. So experience in my mind is up here.
Yeah.
Education is down here.
Agreed.
And information, anybody can get information.
Right.
Okay. And we were discussing on our team meeting yesterday, one of the things about um, a lot of people are going straight to ChatGPT instead of Google now.
Mm.
Instead of Googling something, they go to ChatGPT and ask it to do the research and all that stuff. Um, information is basically just data. Knowledge is knowing about something. Know-how is knowledge plus action in my mind. So you know something, but you put it into action and you know the real deal. And wisdom is knowing what not to do or
Yeah.
knowing what to do when things go wrong. I
Yes.
mean, you think about this, okay? This is where most people are when they're teaching a course. They teach knowledge. And so they can tell you, okay, you should do this and you should do this and this and this and this. And a lot of this stuff is theory. Oh, damn, my printer just started doing something, scared the crap out of me. A lot of this is theory and it sounds good and it spits it out from ChatGPT even better now. But in the end, if you ask them, well, what if this goes wrong? They'll say, well, just follow the process. Well, what
Mm.
happens if what I'm experiencing this? And they're like, well, you're doing it wrong. It's never their fault. It's never the fault. It's like, here's the process, and if you're not getting the result that you are supposed to get, it's because you're dumb. It's because you're not doing it right. They can't solve problems because all they know, they just know about it.
Right.
But if I were to ask you, okay, like right now, I could go to ChatGPT and say, hey, teach me how to do push-ups just like Stu Smith. And I guarantee you it would spit out, it'd talk about greasing the groove and it'd talk about periodization and a push-up push, and it'd have pyramids and overloading and, supersets and all this crap, right?
Yeah.
But Stu, what happens if right here on my arm, right in this one little tendon right here, it hurts like a bitch every time I do pull up. I do a pull up or
Yeah.
a push up. What's going on and how do I fix that? No, I'm serious. I'm asking you the question. What do
Oh,
I do?
how would I fix it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It could be as easy as hand placement that might allow you to still do the movement and not involve that elbow, or you could put on a compression sleeve and still be able to go, or you may need to rest it and get some anti-inflammatory medication in you. There you
100%. Okay, so that's wisdom. That right there is wisdom. Okay. Hey, Stu, I need to be able to pass my PT test within the last 2 weeks. And I mean, in the next 2 weeks, and I've been pretty much a fat tub on the couch. And is there anything I can do? I'm not worried about maxing. I just want to pass it. Is there anything you can do to help me to be able to pass that test in the next 2 weeks without making my knees fall off?
go. Nice. Good question.
And
Yeah.
you know the answer, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's some things that you could do to get by in
Right.
2 weeks, and it's not the preferred method, but I can make it happen.
Understood. But
Yeah.
my
For the
point
for
though,
the right amount of money, I could make it happen. No, just joking.
or you can buy Stu's very first Amazon bestseller, the
That's
PT
right.
Test Emergency Survival Guide.
There you go.
Uh-huh. Okay. So this is the difference where in my opinion, in my experience, I've been on this earth and it's gone around the sun enough times that I'm starting to see the same patterns appearing over and over again. This area right here is where all the GPT commandos are going to be hanging out.
Yeah.
They're going to know and they're going to sound slick and it's all going to sound great until the rubber meets the road and a human being has to follow what they're saying to do. Then the wheels are going to fall off. And people are craving a human to human connection. You like my beard there?
Yeah.
So they want a human to human connection, okay, with Stu and Jim. I look Amish. Okay, that's Stu, that's Jim. But the thing is, it's going to become really apparent in the areas that matter whether you really know what the hell you're doing or not. And the
Yeah.
difference between the GPT commandos and the true experts comes down to experience. Okay. You can't have expert without the first few letters in experience. That's not as good as you can't have authority without author. But
Mm,
I'm working on it. But this is the thing to keep in mind. So if you want to graduate from GPT commando, you got to go do it enough and get in the reps to actually have some experience, to have some things to talk about that people are going to care about listening to. Um, what do you think people can do to, you know, this is, there's no shame in this if it's a thing that you're using to help you learn stuff and get better and iterate and all that other stuff. But how do you graduate, Stu, in your mind? How do you graduate from GPT commando to real expert?
I mean it may take a little bit of time, but you can start setting up your website or social media platform in a way to where it answers specific questions from humans about the exact same thing that people are putting out information and knowledge on, right?
Okay.
Like you just said, you know, I need to get better at my push-ups, but my
Hmm.
elbow hurts.
Okay.
What can I do?
Okay.
I have 1 week before my test. I can do 60 push-ups and pass, but it hurts.
Well,
Like
you don't
what can
even
I
have
do
to
to
do
what can I do to fix it?
you don't
You
even
know,
have to do 60 push-ups to
no.
pass. It passing's like 40 or 30.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's just one of those things that I just came up with.
you don't know
Uh,
the name.
but anyway, it's those are types of things you can start doing. And believe it or not, there's a new there's a new system out there or a new category of search. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with the AEO, not the
right.
SEO?
100%. But what I'm saying is that even if you do that, you're still not an expert. Well,
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you need some yeah, I guess you need to
you need to go
have some
do it.
some time and have some experience before
You,
you are an expert. Yeah.
the only thing that matters now is results.
Yeah.
Would anybody be listening to you if you had not gone through SEAL training?
No. Not with
No.
what I do now.
Would anybody really be listening to you now as you're closing in on 60? Would anybody be listening to you if you weren't consistently getting guys through the pipeline?
Mm, no.
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 So experience and results are the currency of the future.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Okay. This is easy. ChatGPT can teach me better than you can to go to ChatGPT and ask it for what I want to know as far as data and knowledge. It's all there. Okay. And you can go to like Notebook LM and feed it a bunch of crap that you get from a bunch of other places, feed it a bunch of knowledge, and it'll teach you the thing. It'll create video presentations, it'll create podcast interviews, it'll create reports and checklists and videos and all sorts of stuff to teach you what you're asking it to teach you. It becomes a
Right.
self-licking ice cream cone. The only thing that separates you from ChatGPT is going out into the world and basically being able to connect with other human beings and show them what to do when a human being is trying to do what they're trying to get done. I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm not motivated, I'm not this, it's not working, I'm still can't seem to lose weight. Whatever the issue is, the only person who can help you solve the only thing that can help you solve it is another person who's solved the problem, who can interact with you as a human and help you diagnose what the hell's going on and tell you what to do from their experience.
Yeah.
you know
Agreed. Agreed.
and I think, if you really want to isolate it down, ChatGPT, data, everything, they know what to do, but a real expert knows what not to do and why.
Mm.
And I know that's a subtle thing, but you know what not to do because of emotional intelligence and experience and all that other stuff. Okay, great example. Okay.
Techniques. Yeah.
Yesterday, was yesterday mobility day?
Not for me.
Were you supposed to work out outside yesterday?
I was supposed to.
Did you
Yes.
make a judgment call yesterday?
Right at game time judgment
Okay.
call. Yes, I
Tell
did.
me about that.
Well, it was single digit wind chill, ice everywhere, and we had a weightlifting session out, that we normally do outdoors that we decided to go indoors just because it was cold, windy, icy, and I like it to be cold out there because I think it does bring a little bit of toughness, but there's a fine line between toughness and being stupid and getting hurt. And that's where I drew the line.
And what you just said there, there's a fine line between toughness and being stupid and getting hurt.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT doesn't know that line. I mean, it can talk about it, but it
Yeah.
can't go, you know what? It can't call an audible.
Yeah.
And a keyboard commando, a GPT commando can't either. And so the only way you know to do that is because you actually have been working out outside in 30 degrees to know when it's a good idea and when it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying this is just something I'm playing around with the idea of, though. But if GPT can tell you what to do and how to do it, which it can, and it
Yeah.
sounds pretty good,
Set up a nice little bench workout if you want
right? But what not to do,
it. Yeah.
doing it wrong, what happens when things go wrong,
Yeah.
improvising,
Contingencies.
all that stuff. It can't, I don't. Plus, here's the thing, you engender trust because of what you've done, who you are, the whole amalgamation of that which is Stu Smith, suburban dad, suburban dad by day, by night. I don't know what he is. But
I'm asleep.
there you go. But that's the people. I think the other thing that's going on here is that this human connection, as you get GPT more and more pervasive and all that stuff, I think people are craving it. They want the real human thing. They don't want the perfect art. They want the hand drawn. It was interpreted by somebody. It was created by someone. They want it, or at least a lot of people do, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love to have an answer, but I also love contingencies to that answer. Whether I have to develop that contingency or it comes with it.
Sure.
A lot of times if you're getting coached by an actual human, there will be options dependent on your situation and your abilities and your facilities and your time per day and your days per weeks and your goals, your current fitness assessments, things like that. So everything matters, if you really want something dialed in to fit what you need. And that's a little bit more than a search engine or an answer engine can do for you.
100%. And now in a world where this game, it's now a game of inches. It's the difference between participating and winning. It's the difference between getting hurt or actually succeeding. Like what is some conventional, and maybe there isn't any, I don't know, but what is some conventional fitness wisdom maybe that you even believed before and now you're like, nah, that's just plain wrong and I've seen it through my own eyes? Is there anything, nutrition, training, anything?
Oh, there's dozens, but I would say the most important and the most recent one that I have like changed my mindset on is creatine.
Okay.
As a young man, I saw creatine blow up people's dreams in spec ops, right? They just cramped, they couldn't get through the training, and they banned creatine throughout training, in the late 90s because of it. And now, after thousands of studies on the substance, probably the most studied one ever, creatine actually is pretty good for you for
There
many
you
things:
go.
cognitive, um,
Energy.
physical, energy. There's like a half a dozen, like really major um, benefits that, and probably even more than half a dozen that creatine is helpful with doing. So, I've changed my mindset on that from someone who just didn't take it because I saw what it did to high endurance, high repetition, dehydrated athletes, um, to someone to like, huh, maybe this make me smarter, less apt to having dementia, and things like that.
This podcast is not intended to provide any medical advice or
No.
legal advice or any other type of advice. Please consult your appropriate tax attorney, rabbi, veterinarian, or medical professional. Do you do 10 grams or 5 grams a day?
I usually keep it between 5 and 10. Some days 10, some days 5. Um, but when I'm dragging, I tend to put a little more in there
Okay.
because there's another study out on it that if you have sleep deprivation, that it can actually take
Help.
away the effects of those lost hours of sleep
Yeah.
by upping the dose a little bit,
Yeah.
which is pretty
Absolutely.
incredible.
Now, I want y'all to understand something. I am not discounting knowledge. We call it data, default answers to anything. Okay, because you got to know what you need to know. Okay,
Yeah.
but this by itself is a commodity. It's not worth really paying for anymore. In other words, just the knowledge, just the data, that's free. It's freely available. It's as close as your nearest chatbot. Okay,
Yeah.
what creates value for people is a combination of soul, your stories, opinions, observations, unique perspective, lesson learned, plus data, plus action. That's where the value is, because that's how you put everything into motion to be able to get a result and people actually pay attention. You can't just dump info bombs on people because nobody cares. You got to have the information and the knowledge, and that gives you that gives you kind of the backbone of what are we supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
The soul gives the context that links you up with the person. So, like, Stu tells the story of failing his first PT test at the Naval Academy, tells the story of failing chemistry and going home and having mom say, well, you just move home. I can't do that. Tells the story of his ankle falling apart in a hotel room and being happy that it happened because it meant he didn't have to work out for a couple of months. The story of being sore and really hurting and thinking my days of running are over and then accidentally discovering mobility day. You know, the story of publishing your first book by running into the publisher in the hallway of the Naval Academy and said, "I wrote a book," and he's like, "Oh, let me take a look at it," and then realizing that you make more money from your own ebooks than you make from an actual published book with a publisher. All of those stories, and Stu's like, Jesus, this guy's
Yeah.
stalking me or something. No,
He
I'm just
knows
paying
my whole
attention.
life. Yeah, all my ups and downs.
But what that does is it gives context for the knowledge and information. And then the thing that makes you valuable is that you have put it into action and know how to warn people off of the stuff that's going to trap them, and be able to encourage them and know and see where they're going to run into issues, where they're going to potentially get hemmed up by something, and you can warn them around it, or you can talk them through it, or you can get them over it, or psych them up. That's when you're a real expert.
That's
That's
a good
not
point.
that's not the GPT commando.
Yeah.
And I mean, thoughts?
No, I mean, I everything you just said, it's seconded for sure. I mean, that is what we do. You know, when you have a business, you want to be the expert in that business, and it doesn't matter what other people are saying because you have an answer and you have an answer to their specific problem, even though Chat GPT may give them a solution, may not give them the full answer.
Well, let's continue this, okay? So we got know-how, we got knowledge, information, we got know-how and wisdom. What if I talked about tactics versus look at this thing not.
Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, tactics versus how to think. You know, I had a conversation with my grandsons not too long ago, and I said, "Hey, grades 1 through 12 is all about teaching you how to learn. College is about teaching you how to think. That's why you're there." Now, I think it
Interesting.
fell on deaf ears, but you know, I love them. But if
Yeah.
you think about it, what's more valuable, teaching somebody tactics or teaching them how to think?
I think both, but how to think is obviously the way. The tactics are like the foundation, and then the top of that pyramid's how to think.
Correct. And how to solve problems.
Right.
So that's the thing, is that people pay us to help them solve problems. And again, if you're a GPT commando, you can only solve problems that GPT will tell you how to solve the problem. And it's great if it works, but how are you going to know if it works or not if you're not out there getting your hands dirty? And it can teach you tactics. Tactics are important, but again, tactics without ultimately knowing how to think and solve problems, that's where you're a GPT commando instead of a real expert.
Yeah. Hey
Thoughts?
Jim, have you heard of you've heard of SEO, right?
I have heard
Search
of SEO. Yes,
search engine optimization.
I,
You know,
I was I was vice president of special projects for a company that did that. One of the biggest in the world.
oh, that's cool. Well, now because of this AI Chat GPT creation and other answer engines, they call them, there's an answer engine optimization,
Yeah,
AEOs, and some of the advice they give is to actually answer questions in your content more, and you could be the information that is linked into that Chat GPT answer or Google,
100%.
you know, AI mode answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something I do every week is I answer a question and I make it an article. And that is another way of getting you in, even though you're the expert. It gets you into the knowledge information zone where a lot of people will find you first.
Okay.
So I'm not boo-hooing the bottom half of that pyramid. I think it's just as important as the foundation and the tactics, but you're right. The tip of that pyramid, where you really will see a uh, breakaway from what everybody else is doing, is when you are able to answer those questions a little more specifically and
100%.
personally. Yeah.
Last thing is judgment. How important, you're a father,
Hmm.
how important is being able to have good judgment?
Extremely important, Jim.
Where where does good judgment come from, Stu?
Whew. That would be in the experience
Right.
category for sure.
And typically good judgment comes from doing what? The wrong thing and figuring it out.
Yeah, or keeping your eyes open and watching other people do the wrong thing and saying, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
Yeah. Learning from the mistakes of others. That's something
Yes.
I've not always been the best at because I was too busy out front, sticking my finger in the light
Leading.
socket. Yeah, there you go. But interestingly enough, good judgment is usually the result of bad judgment, and bad judgment is usually the result of not paying attention.
Oh,
But in the end, experience is how you get good judgment.
yes.
And this is one of those things where I really believe in the next 2 years that where we're going to be is there's going to be two camps, and there's going to be a huge camp of GPT commandos who are out there I mean, they're going to sound good. They're going to be like, Liver King on steroids. No pun intended. Okay.
Mm.
And there's going to be a whole bunch of them. They're going to sound good, and they're going to dilute the market. It's going to be just like in Williamsburg, Virginia, when I was in real estate. There were a set number of transactions that took place in the whole MLS. Half of the agents in the MLS who were members of the MLS did one deal or less per year,
Wow.
which meant that almost half of the deals that were available to get done got eaten up by people who were part-timers and doing it one deal and one deal a
Wow.
year. And I think the exact same thing is about to happen in the world of everybody and their brother is going to be an expert, because it's too easy to come off as an expert with using ChatGPT. The temptation is too big.
Right.
But what's going to happen is it's going to give you access to knowledge and information that you'll be like, hey, this sounds really good. And it'll sound really good to people who have no experience, until at some point somebody dips their toe in the water and tries to use that, and they're like, hey, this didn't go as planned, what should I do? And the GPT commandos will be like, follow the process. I mean, it's just all the stuff. And there are going to be certain people that are going to rise to the top and are going to be the people that people want to be connected to. And I think that means working on actually being out there doing it. So there's two parts of your business. There's the teaching it and there's the doing it. As soon as you stop doing it, you're a fraud, because you're
Mm.
teaching what used to work. Okay, that's
Dang.
number one. You got
Yeah.
to be doing it, teaching it, and doing it. Number two, need to work on your people skills, your ability to connect with other people, to be a likable. I'm talking to myself because this is shit I really need to work on. Uh,
Yeah.
but you gotta work on your people skills, work on your ability to connect with other people, work on your leadership, on your empathy, on all the things that just make you a human worth following.
Smart.
And I think the third thing is you got to consistently be adding value to a group of people that are clearly defined, and you're able to help them in a meaningful way and lead them and protect them and guard them. And I'd say the fourth thing you want to do, make sure you got a book that proves you know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be your sword, your shield, your manifesto, your proof, and everything all rolled up into one. So that's what I see coming, Stu. Um,
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I would agree. And I love the ending answer. Be an authority in your world. Create that book to help
Yeah,
you show that. And you're right. A lot of times I will look for that. I will look if I see something new coming. I'm like, what else has this guy done? Right?
right.
Has he done a book? Does he do art? Is he a syndicated writer? Does he where's he get his you know stuff done? He's got 1,000 videos on YouTube.
Right.
Those are some ways to just check for that authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, be somebody worth following. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Good
So
stuff.
cool. So next week is Christmas Eve. Not to date this, but we will definitely, we're doing it. We decided before we jumped on here today that next week we're going to do it on Christmas Eve and we're going to do it on New Year's Eve. And we're not going to talk about stuff like this. We're going to talk about fun stuff, cool stuff, you know.
We'll do some genie walkthroughs. Those are my favorite.
There you go. Maybe we'll do, maybe I'll come up with a goal setting genie, or
Mm,
we'll learn how to talk to Genie Chat about our goals. What do you
hmm,
think?
yeah, might be a good idea.
He's like, nah, I freaking hate that
Business
idea, but I'm
goals
not
for
going to say that.
2026.
Oh, God. Okay.
I'm gonna sell more. I'm gonna sell more.
There you go. All right. Well, that was fun. I'll let you. Any final thoughts, Stu?
Nah, man. You need both. You need the bottom half of the foundation of that pyramid, and you need the top side of it too. So don't just get stuck in the knowledge information loop.
Right.
Add some wisdom and personal touch, know how,
And the only way to get that is by
experience, action. Get it
taking
done.
action.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the word I think that stuck to me the most is you have to go out and do it. And when you stop doing it and you're still teaching it, you're a fraud. It's like,
Yeah. It's
damn.
true.
Yeah. This is how
It's
we used
harsh.
to do it back in 1990.
Back before it turned a century, back in 1997, I remember what we did, man. We was on dial up and we'd, it was a horse drawn carriage to get you hooked up to the interwebs. And I remember the first time I got the high speed internet.
Woo. Remember that modem
Woo!
sing? Remember that modem? Woo.
Oh, yeah. She's a singing. I had a 2-barrel shotgun modem. That's not a mama joke. That's I had a modem that you could literally load two. If you had two phone lines at your house, you could plug both phone lines in, but you had to have two internet accounts. But
Wow.
you could double the speed, your internet speed,
Huh.
by having, yeah, it was something.
I
So
had to get a second phone installed in my house for
yeah,
business,
yeah,
because I was always on the home phone.
yeah, yep, yeah, we did too. All right. We'll reminisce about some stuff later.
Yeah.
All
Good stuff.
right, cool. Everybody have a great day. If you want to get in shape, go to StuSmithFitness.com. If you want to get the latest, greatest, and most amazing processes and training and the tools that I use to do all my cool stuff, head to CopyandContent.AI. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.